Hare Krishna. Welcome, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. This is the Bond of Love interview series. And today I have the honor of welcoming an author, a podcaster, and a dear disciple and a dear daughter of Srila Prabhupada, Her Grace Sravaniya Dasi. Welcome. Welcome to Bond of Love interview series hosted by ISKCON of North America Vaishnavi Ministry.
Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to speak with you today. So, a little bit about Her Grace Sravaniya Dasi. Like I said before, she's an author, a podcaster, and a dear daughter of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. She's a trained yoga teacher as well. She was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and throughout her life has been interested in metaphysics and spirituality. She became a vegetarian at the age of 17 and began studying Eastern classics to understand consciousness and reality. She took initiation from Srila Prabhupada in 1971 and has spent decades studying the classical Sanskrit texts in yoga ashrams around the world. She was instrumental in getting Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is translated into Chinese. In 2006, she published a study guide for the English version of her guru's seminal work entitled The Basic Bhagavad Gita, An Introduction to Bhagavat Vedanta. There is more to say about Her Grace Sravaniya Dasi, but I would love to hear from her. Please welcome Her Grace Sravaniya Dasi.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurvani Pacharni Nirvishesha Sunyavani Pasachari Starni Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai. Okay, well, here I am. You asked for it.
I asked, there's like a crowd favorite. How did you come into the Krishna consciousness movement? Could you share?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri, in North County, St. Louis, and I was raised a Catholic. My mom told me when I was 12 years old, learn how to type and you'll always be able to find a job. And she was right. So I began working downtown in St. Louis at 14 years, no, actually in Ferguson, and 14 years old at the Department of Motor Vehicles. And I was always interested in metaphysics and the mysteries of life. But my first meeting with Srila Prabhupada was through one of his books. Now, I told my brother Bob, I'm interested in yoga. And he said, oh, I received a book. It's called Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System.
Oh, wow.
I said, where'd you get that? He said, St. Louis Art Museum. Oh, okay. Can I see it? He says, yeah, it's in my drawer. So it was in his drawer with his socks and underwear. So I went in the drawer and I rummaged it through and I found the book and I read it cover to cover.
Wow.
And I didn't understand everything I read, but I couldn't disagree with what Prabhupada was saying, and I needed to learn more. So that's my first meeting with Srila Prabhupada. And then I asked my younger brother, Gary, do you know of any yoga places? Because yoga was not popular back then, like it is now. And there was no internet. There was only Yellow Pages. So he told me there was something downtown, and I found the address. And in May 1971, I drove myself down to the Hare Krishna Center on a Thursday night. And that was where the devotees were based. And it was headed by His Grace Vamandev Das, Adhikari, and his good wife, Indira Devi Dasi. So it was a small temple, and there's only one brahmachari gave the class, and I was the only one in the temple room. It was Prabhupada's small purple abridged Bhagavad Gita as it is. I don't remember the verse or the topic, but when I heard it, I thought, this is what I've been looking for. So after a class, one of the devotees asked me, would you like to stay? I said, yes. I was 18 years old. I was in between jobs. I graduated from high school. everything fell into place. So I joined the temple and chanted 16 rounds the next morning. Hearing from Prabhupada through his books was a life-changing experience. It made me take the road less traveled.
Wow.
So I got initiated a few months later. And Prabhupada was in London. I was in St. Louis. He sent me a letter and my chanting beads by mail. And I've lived in ISKCON ashrams all over the place. Detroit, New York City, Dallas, Texas, London, Paris, Bombay, New Delhi. And then I was in Vishnujana Swami's Radha Damodar traveling roadshow for a little while. And then the Vaikuntha Players in Brooklyn, Henry Street temple. I was at the Krishna Balaram Mandir on opening day. And then I served in Hong Kong and Taiwan temples in the 80s and 90s.
Wow.
So that's my basic thing.
Such a rich spiritual experience and association.
It's an adventure, you know, when you have associating with Krishna through his devotees, it's an adventure.
I'm sure there are many, many memories, you know, in these 50 odd years in Krishna consciousness, but is there a favorite memory you could share of Srila Prabhupada?
Okay. Well, I was in Bombay in late 1974, 75, and Prabhupada came there for a couple or a few months. So his quarters were upstairs in the Bombay place, and our quarters, the ladies' quarters, were downstairs in the building across from his quarters. And I remember getting up around 1:30 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and I saw the light on in his room. And this happened a few days in a row, and I said, oh my. I found out that he was writing at 1:30 a.m., 2 o'clock. Okay, so I was very impressed by his determination to get up every morning and write. And it was during this time that he completed Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Whoa.
And he laid the cornerstone of the Juhu temple. I was there. In the morning, when he would go for a walk with the swamis and the men, the ladies would clean his quarters and cook. And I got to go and do that often. And I found sandalwood flakes on his pillowcase, fallen from his forehead during his sleep. And I would remove them and make his bed. So once my god sister, Palika Devi Dasi, who was Prabhupada's personal cook, she came to me while I was dusting and sweeping, and she had a pair of shoes in her hands, and she offered them to me. Do you want a pair of shoes? She asked. These were bought for Prabhupada, but when he tried them on, they were too small for him. Do you want to try them? I was surprised, but I took them and said, let me see. They were those slip-on canvas shoes, light orange in color. We often see them in pictures of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, they fit, I told her. She said, good, you can take them. So that took less than 2 minutes. And one might think that I should keep those shoes and worship them for the rest of my life, but I was living in the ashram, and actually I needed a pair of shoes. So I walked in Srila Prabhupada's shoes for more than a mile for a long, long time until they wore out completely. And years later, I took the opportunity to teach the Holy Scriptures that Prabhupada had translated to inquisitive yoga students and devotees from all over the world. Prabhupada wanted this. He told his disciples, every one of you become a spiritual master. This is our mission, right? So I followed in Prabhupada's footsteps, definitely, literally.
Such sweet memories. Thank you. Especially I was thinking, you know, now that Nityananda Trayodasi is coming, and Chaitanya Gaura Purnima is coming. Many of us might be reading. And, indeed, I think this memory that you just shared, I think if we keep that in our forefront, that Prabhupada literally burned the midnight oil to write these books for us, how much sweeter they are when we read them. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Prabhupada was such a visionary, but at the same time, he was so personal in his dealings. We hear that time and time again. So, could you share how did Prabhupada adjust his dealings with devotees and who were non-practitioners based on time, place, and circumstance?
Mm-hmm. Well, Srila Prabhupada really displayed the characteristics of Pandita Samadarshana. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna describes the perspective of such an uttama, pure devotee. Krishna says, the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Krishna-conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmin and the outcast may be different from the social point of view, or a dog or a cow or an elephant may be different from a point of view of species, but these differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme. For the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portion as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. Now, our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, was a perfect example of this, and he never made distinction between Western devotees in male or female bodies. He often referred to us disciples as these boys and girls. In Brooklyn, New York, Henry Street Temple Room, before the deities, Prabhupada wanted the men on one side and the women on the other side, not the men in the front and the women in the back. All right? Mm-hmm. He treated all of us equally. So, Srila Prabhupada, I think of him as a transcendental alchemist. He could turn jug eyes and mud eyes into Brahmins and yogis, right? At one point, he even called us sannyasis. Get a load of this. In a lecture that he gave in Bombay in 1971, Srila Prabhupada said, Anashrita karma phalang karyam karma karoti sa sannyasi. So this sannyasi can be accepted even in grihastha life, even in householder life. Because in one sense, all these boys and girls who are working for Krishna, they have no other desire. They are all sannyasis because they have no desire to achieve any result out of their work. The only thing they want, the Krishna bhakti, how Krishna will be satisfied. They're engaged in preaching work because they want to satisfy Krishna. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekang sharanam vraja. These are teaching, these boys and girls are teaching all over the world the same principles, the same philosophy. Please surrender unto Krishna. You will be happy. That's their message. They have no other message. Therefore, they are all sannyasis. These girls are sannyasis? Yeah. Yeah, we used to sleep on the floor in the ashram, share the room with whoever was there, take showers in ice cold water during the winter. Yep. We eat off paper on the floor because there were no plates for us. Hey, no problem. And then we get up and be showered and dressed and at the Mangal Arati at 4:30 a.m. every morning. Yeah, we got trained up and did deity worship. I did deity worship. Gave some gave classes, some led kirtan, some went out chanting on the streets. He treated the boys and girls equally. So there you go. So in some videos of the early days, I saw Govinda Dasi assisting Prabhupada as he emerged from a car. She was his secretary at that time. And Jadharani Dasi was walking with him in the morning chanting japa, and they both had saris on, but neither one had their head covered. They didn't cover their head. Prabhupada didn't care about these kind of traditional adherents covering the head. No, it's all right. He welcomed and engaged every one of us according to our abilities, not our temporary dress.
Wow. Yeah, he embodies the verse that you just quoted, Vidyavine Sampane. You listed many services that you have done, that you are engaged in, and that other Vaishnavis were engaged in. And we can see that so many of you are still continuing, 50 plus years. And so the question that's coming up is, what about Srila Prabhupada that convinced you that you should dedicate your life to him, even now, after decades, after so many years?
Well, I understood that he taught me everything that I wanted to know about consciousness and reality. And every principle and process that he outlined was proven to be true as soon as I applied it in practice. So it was not like, Krishna consciousness is not a belief. It's a science, and it proves itself every time it is tried. So you do it and it works. You do it and it works. You need faith, in my opinion. You need faith for like 2 weeks, because as soon as you start doing it, it works. So
it's this eternal knowledge that was passed on that's keeping you going.
Yeah.
Was there anything that Srila Prabhupada engaged you, like any particular service that you were engaged in the early days?
Well, here's what he wrote to me when I received my initiation in the mail. It was long distance initiation. He sent me my japa beads from London and a letter, and he wrote this: I have given you the name Sravaniya dasi. Sravaniya means that which is to be heard, the Vedic literatures. So go on chanting and reading my books, and this will give you the strength to preach this message more and more. So I took those as my marching orders. And the fact of the matter is, in my astrological chart, and I do astrology, I've done it for years and years. I have Mercury in the first house, which indicates that my personality in this life is made for communication. And the sun in Sagittarius means teacher. All right. So there are a lot more details I discovered from studying my chart, and I utilized all these tools for sharing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. I have been teaching yoga since 1983. I began in Taiwan, where I stayed for 6 years. In 1990, I went back to Hong Kong and taught Hatha Yoga for more than a decade. But finally, in 2001, I got the opportunity to teach yoga philosophy to yoga teacher trainees. And I put together slide presentations of Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali to help the students understand the precepts. And later, these were the basis of the books that I wrote on these subjects. So this is one of my books. And I call this the Yama Niyama notebook, right? Because I go over Yama Niyama in detail. And then here's the Bhagavad Gita, Basic Bhagavad Gita. It's not Bhagavad Gita for dummies, because dummies don't study Bhagavad Gita. It's basic, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, these are available on Amazon. And I got more.
There you go.
I even
a list of your books. So many books.
Yeah, I've got 8 that I have written, and 2 of them have been translated in, one in Spanish, one in traditional Chinese. So there's 10 books.
So these books were used to train the yoga teachers.
The 2 that I showed you, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Such an important contribution, because we often hear otherwise the yoga just is asanas and pranayama, but the yama niyama part, nobody talks about it. And you have it.
Yeah, nobody talks about it because then you have to give up eating meat and, all this kind of stuff. Brahmacharya is in there too.
Yeah.
And at the end of the niyamas, the fifth niyama is Ishvara Pranidhan. Now, what is that? Krishna consciousness.
Right.
And it's not just one of the niyamas, it's the goal of yoga. And Prabhupada taught us this. It's the goal of yoga. Ishvara Pranidhan is Krishna consciousness.
Right. Somebody needs to talk about it, and here you are. Thank you for doing this important service of bringing the eternal teachings of the Bhagavad Gita to the yoga community too. Yeah. We have more to talk about, but I'm going to request the listeners to come back in for the second part of this conversation. So stay tuned. Hare Krishna. So I'll see you in the
Hare Krishna.